Hello and welcome to Nutshell Recaps. This video explains the synopsis of the movie Deep Water. Warning, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, it will really help our channel grow. Rich businessman Victor Van Allen is riding his bike through the woods. After taking a quick stroll through the forest, he comes home, starts getting ready, and finds his wife Melinda waiting for him on the stairs. Victor asks her what's going on, but she simply says nothing before going inside. Later, as the couple is getting ready for a party, we find out that Victor and Melinda also have a young daughter, called Trixie. Melinda requests her husband to assist her with the dress, and as Chelsea Victor helps her put on her shoes, Melinda takes a moment to tell him how much she loves him. Then, the couple departs for the party, leaving Trixie with Chelsea Victor. As Melinda and their friends meet up at the party, enjoy a few drinks, and talk about Trixie's schooling, Melinda notices her friend Joel and goes over to say hello. Without thinking twice, she then takes Joel to a quiet corner and the two begin passionately kissing. Victor observes what is happening and maintains an eye on it, but he remains unresponsive despite her husband watching her. Melinda keeps kissing Joel when one of Victor's acquaintances, Mary, approaches him and expresses concern about Joel and Melinda's relationship. Victor doesn't seem to be bothered by Mary's concern and tells her that he loves his wife exactly the way she is. After arriving at the party and sitting down at the piano, Melinda begins to play a song, grabbing everyone's attention. A short while later, Joel thanks Victor for letting him see Melinda. As they speak, Victor brings up the subject of Melinda's ex-boyfriend Martin McRae, who went missing a while ago. At the party, the couple is getting ready to leave when Melinda asks Victor if he said anything to Joel, but Victor simply denies having a chat with the guy, and they head home. Once they get there, Melinda takes Joel out for a drink. Victor then drops a bombshell confessing that he was the one responsible for making Martin disappear. At first, Joel thinks that Victor is joking around, but when he becomes insistent that he's speaking the truth, Joel becomes uneasy and decides to leave. It's now obvious that Melinda is a selfish and careless woman, and Victor feels embarrassed and apologizes to the babysitter for Melinda's behavior. He then requests his wife to enter their room. Victor approaches Melinda and helps her take off her clothes, revealing their joint understanding that Melinda is free to engage in intimate relationships with whoever she chooses, but cannot leave Victor and must remain with him and their daughter Trixie. Victor abides by the terms of the agreement because he cares about his family, particularly his daughter. Victor also enjoys keeping snails as pets, it has been noted. The following day, Victor and his daughter Trixie are singing in the car on the way to Trixie's school. When they get there, Victor drops Trixie off and runs into his friend Jen. Jen asks if the rumors about Victor killing Martin McRae are true, but once more Victor chuckles and claims it was just a joke he told Joel to keep him away from Melinda. Despite Victor's denial, the rumor quickly spreads among his friends, and everyone continues asking him. Meanwhile, Melinda is upset with Victor for making jokes about her close buddy Martin when Victor enters his home. The following Friday, when Joel arrives at Vic's house, Victor greets him warmly. However, because Joel is uneasy, he responds by asking if Melinda is home. She is also furious with him for threatening her boyfriend and demands that he apologize to Joel. She also lets him know that she has already invited Joel over for dinner that evening. Joel is politely invited to take a seat by Victor, who jokingly claims that she is absent. When Victor learns that Joel is allergic to seafood, he prepares some grilled sandwiches in place of the lobster he had planned to cook for dinner. Joel thanks Victor for the delectable meal and announces his impending move to New Mexico. The following day, Melinda requests that Victor put Trixie to bed and read her some bedtime tales. Victor complies and goes to Trixie's room where, after reading her a bedtime story, she tells her father that he doesn't like having Joel around the house. As Melinda descends the steps, Victor sees the two of them having fun together and asks if he can make Joel another drink. Victor agrees and goes over to Joel, who was expecting an apology from Victor for his joke about killing Martin. A few days later, the family attends a party where they meet a screenwriter named Don Wilson and his wife Kelly Wilson, much to Victor's surprise. Victor then reiterates his claim that he actually killed Martin with a hammer before calling Joel an Uber and kindly suggesting that it's time for him to leave. Don questions Victor about the murder of Martin McRae after they have briefly discussed their professions. Victor then repeats the incident. Later, Victor asks Kelly to dance, and the two begin dancing together, making Melinda envious as they drive home. Melinda confronts Victor about his feelings for Kelly, and when he confesses to having an attraction to her, Melinda tries to outdo him, and once they get home, the pair gets close. The next day, Vic and Melinda are watching Trixie play with her classmates at school when suddenly Vic gets a phone call from the bank alerting him to a recent $3,000 transaction made from Melinda's account to a piano teacher named Charlie Delisle. Suspicious, Vic starts looking for Charlie and, to his surprise, Melinda also walks into the restaurant grinning and flirting with Charlie. When Victor sees this, he realizes that Melinda has been seeing Charlie in secret behind his back. Later that evening, Melinda returns home late and tells Victor about a new friend she's made. One day, Victor and Trixie are driving home after adopting a new puppy when he sees Charlie walking down the street with a bouquet of flowers. The following day, Victor finds those flowers sitting on his dining table and throws them in the trash. One night, Melinda doesn't return home and instead spends the night with Charlie, and as soon as Melinda arrives the next day, Victor asks her to stop seeing Charlie for Trixie's sake. However, Melinda refuses to do so and tells Victor that Trixie was his choice, not hers. She also shares the details about her night with Charlie and how fulfilled she felt. A few days later, the entire family is having a great time at a pool party hosted at their friend's house. To everyone's surprise, Charlie, who wasn't expected to be there, also shows up, and Melinda walks over to him to greet him. She brings Charlie to meet Victor and introduces him as her piano instructor. When Victor sees Melinda getting closer to Charlie in front of everyone while they are swimming in the pool, he becomes jealous. Everyone else rushes inside the house, but Victor and Charlie stay outside. Victor acts as if he knows nothing about the relationship between them and politely greets Charlie. When Melinda starts looking for Charlie and cannot find him inside the house, she goes outside to look for him. To her shock, Melinda finds Charlie's body floating in the swimming pool and screams for help. Everyone rushes to the pool and together, they take Charlie's body out and try to revive his lifeless body. Victor joins the group inside a short time later and continues to have fun. Melinda accuses Victor of drowning Charlie without thinking twice when the police show up and start questioning people at the party. One of the officers then takes Victor to a private room for further questioning. After reviewing Victor's statement and finding nothing suspicious, the officers eventually leave the scene. Nevertheless, Melinda still maintains that Victor was to blame for Charlie's death. Upon returning home, Victor confronts Melinda and asks her if she wants a divorce since she's adamant about him being a filthy murderer, but Melinda remains unfazed and replies that she's not afraid because she is sure that Victor is the one who took Charlie's life. The following day, while Victor is leisurely riding his mountain bike, he realizes that a car is following him. He goes to Trixie's school after that and runs into Kelly, who tells him that Dawn is still convinced that Victor murdered Charlie and is making crazy assumptions about him. Prior to sending Kelly home, Victor confronts her and extends an invitation to her and Dawn to join him for dinner at his residence. A short while after, Victor takes Dawn to his basement, where they talk about snails. Dawn and Kelly arrive at his house for dinner. Victor begs Dawn to stop spreading the rumor that he killed Charlie. A few days later, Victor is strolling through the market when he notices the same car that was following him earlier. He then glances into the car and finds a camera with other pieces of equipment inside, and when he looks around he sees Melinda talking to a stranger, realizing that something's cooking. Dawn still believes that Victor is responsible for Charlie's death, so he asks him to take a lie detector test, to which Victor agrees. The man introduces himself as David, a psychiatrist. Victor interrupts them and strikes up a conversation with him. As they part ways, Victor asks David for a business card, but David tries to brush it off by saying that he doesn't have any right now. At this point, Victor realizes that David is actually a private investigator hired by Melinda and Dawn to keep an eye on him. About a week later, Victor shows up at Dawn's house and accuses him of hiring someone. At first, Dawn attempts to refute the charge, but when Victor shows a bank statement that demonstrates Melinda sending money to Dawn's account, a small argument breaks out between Dawn and Kelly. Melinda invites the same man over for dinner and introduces him to Victor as her ex-boyfriend from college. She tells her husband that Tony was the first American boy she was intimate with. One day, Victor is walking home and sees Melinda out and about with another man named Tony. He watches as they roam the city, enjoying each other's company. That night, he overhears Melinda talking to Tony in a flirtatious tone. Tony blushes at this revelation, but Victor is fuming inside. Despite his anger, he puts on a fake smile and tries to act friendly with Tony. As the night goes on, Melinda and Tony start drinking and dancing together. This only makes Victor more jealous, and his anger reaches a boiling point when they go off to the bedroom and become intimate. A few days later, Victor approaches Tony and invites him to check out Melinda's new site. Without much thought, Tony hops into his car and they drive off into the woods. Along the way, when they arrive deep in the woods, Tony is asked about his connection with Melinda, but Victor doesn't receive a clear response. In an effort to cover up the murder, Victor hurls a boulder at Tony out of nowhere, striking him in the forehead before Tony has a chance to respond. Later, with another large rock, Victor knocks Tony off a cliff and onto a riverside rock, where he tragically passes away from the impact. The following day, Melinda suggests that Victor and Trixie go on a picnic at their favorite hiking spot and bring Trixie along. Victor agrees, and they set off for the spot, which turns out to be the same place where Tony was killed. While Trixie plays and enjoys herself, Victor drags Tony's lifeless body into the river, ties stones to it, and sinks it, but not before taking Tony's wallet for himself. During their time together, Victor assures Melinda that he accepts her for who she is and vows never to abandon her. Victor also surprises her with a photo book filled with pictures he secretly took as they enjoy their time. Victor realizes that Trixie has wandered off. He goes to fetch her, but finds that Trixie has wandered near the river where he drowned Tony's body, and when he reaches his daughter, trying to bring her back, Victor sees the dead body floating near the surface of the water. Later, when the family is driving back home from the picnic, Melinda realizes that she left her scarf behind, but Victor promises to retrieve it for her in the morning. The following day, Tony's body is discovered by Victor, who had tried to hide it in the river. Meanwhile, Melinda is searching for her husband when she discovers Tony's wallet in the basement, which makes her think that Victor may have killed Tony and her former partners. Victor attempts to make excuses when Dawn unexpectedly appears and finds him in the ACT, but Dawn notices Tony's arm floating in the water and is afraid of what Victor might do to him. Victor is warned by Dawn that he will be arrested as she hurriedly enters his vehicle. Victor follows Dawn on his mountain bike in an attempt to catch up with her, but because he is unable to do so, he takes a shortcut that results in him falling in front of Dawn's car, causing it to make a sharp turn and crash into a river, killing him immediately. Victor finds Melinda waiting for him on the stairs when he gets home in the movie's final scene after verifying Dawn's death. Before telling him that she discovered Tony's wallet, she gives him a long look. As the film comes to a close, Melinda is seen destroying Tony's wallet, indicating that she has ultimately decided to remain with Victor and Trixie.